Sonya and Sacha, for real.
You're listening to Brimbank Live and Live FM. This is the Sonya and Sacha for real show. It's Friday, our favourite day. Sacha, hello.
Favorite day. I miss you. I just want to get through there. One day we're actually going to be able to get in the studio. COVID
With our friend Ralph, who we love, and we're sending all kinds of love to our friend Ralph because he's been doing it a bit tough, and we want to wrap our arms around you, Ralph, who is making media, who puts the whole thing together, owns the station that this is broadcast on. And everybody from the Brimbank Live team, we love you, and we're sending a big shout out to you today, Ralph.
Yeah, sending him lots and lots of love.
Sending him lots of love. Now, we've got a big show, huge show,
Massive,
big controversial.
show. Sonya, I had a dream. that they said no masks. You didn't have to wear masks. Anyway, I didn't actually realise till about 11 o'clock that the dream was not right, because I got out of the car, got petrol, did this, and then I realised I had made that up in my head. But anyway, it is going to come. We may get told we don't have to wear masks outside. This could be very, very cool.
I know. We'll be able to breathe while we're walking our dogs. It'll be amazing. Now, we've got our rainbow stuff on today. It's a very important day. Today is the Transgender Day of Remembrance.
Yep.
And that is where we pay tribute to the transgender people whose lives were lost in acts of transgender violence. So we are paying our beautiful tributes and representing all of our amazing people in the trans community. So we send big love out to you today and every day. And it's also Transgender Awareness Week. So it's a big week for our beautiful trans people. So we are sending our love, and we're repping our rainbow colours today.
I'm going to wear this out all day in absolute pride.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. So what's going on? What have you been doing this week, Sash? Because we've got a beautiful big guest who's going to take up all of our show today. Controversial. Okay. He's going to push us to our limits. But he's had an amazing life and lots of history, and, you know, he's done lots of incredible things in his journey. So we're hoping that you'll
Scott McKenzie, all the way from New York. It's another New York minute.
Yep.
Okay, so what have I been doing? My kids have started sport again. I went out. And I'm actually saying, I think that we need to encourage people to start to get out now.
How long before you're bored of that, though? How long before you're like,
I don't think I'll ever be bored. I don't think I'll ever be bored with taking
Do you know what?
I will never be bored of taking my kids out, let me tell you now. And I'm actually having a little bit of anxiety about the fact that in 2 weeks, school is over and I have my kids at home for 2 months again.
Same. I'm really scared about that. Well, I'm not scared. I'm scared. So let's be real.
Well, because it's just we're entertaining them, and it's massive. And
at least we don't have to homeschool them, though. That's the one bonus out of this entire break that we're about to have.
People might think that we don't love our kids. That's the thing. We love them so much.
We would clearly do anything.
With us all the time and follow us around the house. I have not had a shower by myself
since 84.
Yeah, 84. Do you know what I'm saying? Now, guess what else it is, right? It's actually Youth Month. Hang on a second. It's Youth Month. This is our month.
We love the youth.
We're youth because we're like under 20.
23 and a half every birthday.
Yeah, exactly right.
We love you. Well, you and I have dedicated our entire careers to working with young people. We love them.
Yes.
We love
every Youth Month.
Yes.
We get a whole month. It's like it's better than Mother's Day. You just get to party all week. Actually, basically what it means is that I think Youth Month, I'm going to translate this to be completely different. Youth Month is where old people actually get out and act like young people for an entire month. And that's you and I, Sonya.
We're not, except we're not old. It's other people who are old and act like young people. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. We celebrate young people. We celebrate how brilliant they are. And do you know what? Why don't you do yourself a favor and actually have a chat with a young person today, but just listen, just say, hey, what's happening in your world, and have a little conversation with them. And you know what? You will be so surprised at how, fresh and innovative and, excited about the world they are. They've been doing it tough this year, like everyone else has, and probably a little tougher because they don't have some of the coping mechanisms that we do. But I tell you what, they will blow your mind because
they're absolutely full of love, and they've got so much hopes and dreams, and life hasn't put the lid on them yet. And that's exactly why we love hanging out with young people. Absolutely. Now, can I tell you what? I have watched an incredible show that I highly recommend for you to watch.
Yes,
incredible. It's on Netflix. It's called Trial 4. And it's about a young person who was sentenced to 22 years of jail, and he was innocent. I'm not going to tell you anything more about this, but I can tell you now, I will do my absolute best to get this man on our show.
Oh, how are you going to do that, Sash?
Sean Ellis. I'm going to stalk him.
That's correct.
Right, because if he didn't get stalked in jail, he's going to get stalked by me. That's all I can say. Right? I'm going to do this guy is love and peace to the absolute core, and I'm just telling you, It was brilliant. I highly recommend everyone to watch it. It's called Trial 4. It's set in Boston, and it's probably about it's taken over. It's a show over 22 years, so it's brilliant. You got to watch it. That's what I'm saying. That's my recommendation for the week on what you need to watch. But already, Sonia, we are running out of time because we have the incredible Scott McKenzie. If you want to see the world differently and you want to open your eyes up to, and that's why we love Scott. We love Scott because he pushes us to the end to think differently. And that's what I love. I love somebody opening up my mind and making me see another point of view. And that's exactly what Scott McKenzie does. And he is our guest. And not just like 1, 2, he's like 3 segments. That's how interesting he is.
Absolutely. We've put aside 3 segments for him. And do you know what one of his lines is, which I absolutely love? I think you vibe with this as well, is unsubscribe. Unsubscribe to the normal pattern of what things are and what we've been told. Go do your research, go find out about it, and then form your own opinion from there. Unsubscribe to what the normal is. And I really love that because we need to be challenged and pushed out of our comfort zones all the time. Now, not everyone's going to love, Scotty. He loves a bit of shock as well. Like he'll put some stuff up there just as shock value and just for fun. And a lot of it's, opposing views, but it always is interesting. So we hope you enjoy. We'll see you after the break. This is Brimbank Live on Live FM. You've got the Sonya and Sacha For Real show. It's Friday.
Sonya and Sacha, For Real.
You're listening to Brimbank Live on Live FM. This is the Sonya and Sacha For Real show, and we have just the most amazing guest. It's part of the New York Minute. New York Now, Minute. You will find this a friend of ours
to be the most controversial guest I think that we've ever had, and in anything that we've ever done. Like, this guy has incredible opinions on so much stuff that we love and we soak up, and we just can't get enough of him because he has this energy that we just want to know more and more, and he educates us to think differently. That's what I love about him.
Would you like the professional level introduction? He's a published author. He's a motivational speaker. He's a thought provoker. He's an artist tour manager, a cultural liaison. Oh, let's get into that. And you will most likely find him cycling through the streets of New York in a Louis Vuitton suit. Please welcome great Scott McKenzie.
Hey everybody. That made me feel like Trump. I felt like I was stroking the ego.
Hey, welcome to Australia, baby. Welcome. Because we have to get you down here one day.
I promise on everything I love, I'm coming to Australia.
As
soon as these airlines let us do what we want to do.
Okay. Well, now,
because we have no planes here, so you can't get over here. You can't get back. You can get over, but you can't get back.
Yeah.
I won't mind saying.
Now, we need to ask you, one of the things is Scott McKenzie. Everybody calls you Great Scott. Where did this come from? Is it Back to the Future?
No. Everybody asks that. I named myself Great Scott because I want to be greater than my father, Scott. I finally met him, and I know I'm greater than him. But we at peace. And but I really got the name from a magazine. It was a magazine on the producer Scott Storch. And it said, Great Scott Storch making all these hits, just like in the early thousands. And I said, dang, I like that. I like that name. And that's why I originally got the name from the Source magazine.
Wow.
So,
Look at that.
I gave it my own meaning.
You gave it your own meaning. Well, I thought we had a Back to the Future thing going, but that's hey, we're sticking with that. And I love the fact that you say I want to be better than, I love that. That's beautiful. I think we all want to be better than that. Especially if we come from hard work.
Well, I come from a troublesome background, but once I spoke to him, I haven't met him, but when I spoke to him, I was like, okay, he was young and he had a troubled background too. And he clearly didn't mean it because he had other kids and he was in their life. So that let me know this wasn't personal. It was just young and didn't, he had me at 16. So it makes sense.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, of course it does. All right. We're going to dig into the family stuff in a little bit, but first of all,
because we've all got daddy issues here. We are daddy hardcore issues.
all of us. So we want to know, because when we've had conversations with you, you're just like the epitome of cool. You've got even your company name is cool, River Phoenix Acquisitions LLC, and we've got we see you as a tour manager for A Boogie, and we've got we see you hanging out with the Fugees, and you interned with Pharrell. Like, there's so much to you. When someone asks you what do you do, what do you say?
I don't like answering that.
Yeah, we know. That's what I'm like.
No, I mean, not to you guys, but when people ask me, because I'm like, I just feel like I can't put myself in one box. There's so much everybody does now. But at the end of the day, what I'm doing is just more like business management and helping people organize their professional life. Now that could be touring, that can be like an ice cream shop.
Yes.
It could be all types of avenues, because we're in every field. We just did a job with Costco's. I don't know if I guess you guys don't got Costco's.
We got Costco. Yes, we do.
So it's a supermarket out here. We did some things with Kind Granola Bar as of recently. I mean, everything we do, we don't post, because sometimes you got to sign an NDA. But all in all, just like, to me, I'm like a strategy officer. I'm like a chief. I'm like the director of strategy, depending on the subject and the situation. To be light with it.
That's light. Let's go light. Let's go not heavy at all. So you've become this icon, really, because we all like looking up to you, and we love following the stuff that you do, and you post this stuff that's just really thought-provoking. And so tell us, like, what was it like to be Scott growing up?
Okay, I'm gonna be light. I'm gonna do my best to be light.
Give us heavy.
You can just do you.
Be heavy. You be you.
Well, long story short, I'm from New Jersey, East Orange, New Jersey. I was born in Newark, New Jersey. My mother came to America when she was, I think, 14, 15. And then she met my
England.
father.
She's from England, yeah.
UK. But grew up in Jamaica. She was born in England, left England at like 4, grew up in Jamaica, and blah, blah, blah. And then, when she came to America, it was the crack era, the crack epidemic. Pablo Escobar was running the world with cocaine. And everybody was selling drugs, and she met my father because they both related to each other, with the siblings being in the street life, the parents being in the street life, but them two not wanting to be in the street life.
Yeah.
And from my understanding, that's how they built the bond. And then during all this time, hip hop is blowing up. My mom used to be a dancer. She used to be dancing in the clubs with Puff Daddy, Mike Epps, Kevin Hart. I mean, not that all of them were dancers, but back then, just everybody was just trying to get on. So Busta Rhymes, whoever, everybody was in the club. And then she met Puffy, and she started working with Bad Boy back in the early days, because she used to be at Uptown Records. Uptown with Andre Harrell in them. And then Heavy D, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to skip some stuff. But then
that's some pretty cool stuff to skip, though. This is the grounding and the education that you had when you were young, is to hang around with some of the greatest minds in the music business.
And then Scott comes along.
You don't life. Well, you don't know it when you're in it, because especially back then, when nobody was a millionaire, nobody outside like Run DMC and them, nobody really made anything big of themselves. But I was luckily growing up with the Fugees and growing up with Bad Boy. I got to see Puffy with these visions and these dreams, and he made it happen. Then to witness Tupac die. My mom also worked with Death Row for a little bit, Death Row Records. So to see that, and then to see Biggie, and then 2 months later he dies, and my mom was at those parties. She was in those environments for all that. She was with Pac 7 days before he got murdered, because he did Radio City Music Hall, MTV Awards, the 1996 MTV Awards. He did that in Radio City Music Hall. So it's like, and now as we get older, we're like, it's crazy how all this is TV shows and books and stuff, but this was people real lives at one point. It's entertainment for people today, but they really went through some heavy deaths and heavy just drama. The emotional fitness back then, because it was so new. When we're talking about money in the streets, trying to be professional world, it was just so different back then. I mean, now things are a little better, but the kids are a little more reckless because of the internet. But Yeah, so anyway, growing up around that, I was like, yo, I gotta be in this industry, because I think when people are kids, you are attracted to the first thing you see make money. That's why most kids in the hood, they're attracted to the drug dealer. But for me, I wanted to be the drug dealer till I met the owner of Sony Records.
Yes. Now, I was going to ask you about that. That was like a pivotal moment. And can I just say before we get into that, don't you wish you had an iPhone back in those days? Don't you wish you had a phone that you could be recording all of these moments? I mean, that's history we're talking about there, Scotty. You know, you're hanging out with Tupac and, you know, Biggie. Oh, my gosh, it's amazing. So tell us the day that the Sony exec rolled up onto your house.
He came to the hood, and he came to where the Fugees were recording the score.
Yep.
Which was down the street from my house on South Clinton Street, New Jersey. And I was like, dang, he had a limousine. This one, limousines were like a really big deal, especially for kids.
Of course. Yeah.
So I said, I got to ask this man what he do. And he came out the car. Smoking a cigar, and he had a nice suit on. And I said, I got to ask this man what he do. And I grabbed his jacket and said, excuse me, sir, what do you do?
How old were you then, Scott?
I had been like 6 or 7. I was definitely a kid.
Yeah.
But he had a limousine. And then he said, I'm the CEO of my own record label, something like that. And he walked into the studio. Then I said, can I sit in I forgot how I asked him it, but I wanted to sit in his limousine. He let me sit in it. He told the driver, give them candy, give them Pepsi, whatever. And I just remember sitting in that limousine like, yo, I want to do this, whatever that. I want to be. He's the man.
Yes.
He's really running the show. There's not no drug dealer, and there's definitely no rapper.
But where did that come from, Scott? Like, you're 6 or 7 years old and you've got the thought, that's just how your brain works from that time. Like, what does this guy do? I want to do that. Tell me how do you get to that point? And you're 6 or 7. Like, where did that come from?
Well, I lived in poverty. Not that I've been outside of America. Like, America ain't dealing with real poverty. But as far as America, I was in poverty. And when you're in poverty, you lack choice. And to me, he represented freedom.
Yeah.
He represented freedom. He could do what he want when he wanted, and he was really running the show. And that's when I caught on for like, that's when I want to be a drug dealer, because I'm like, well, they're not really running the show if they're always on the corner. The corner to me is no different from an office. It's still an office. It's on the corner. I don't care how my shoes look. And back then it was big rope chains and stuff. I was like, nah, that don't lead to nowhere good. This man seems to be leading. His life is going good places. I want to be him. He ain't dealing with murder and drama.
Now, you're surrounded by this, and you've said that there was, you know, you had drug dealers in the family, and you had, you know, a potential kidnapping when you were a child. Okay, you're right in the middle of all of that. Tell us what that was like.
Well, so I knew my family was in the streets, but I didn't know to what level until I got kidnapped. Well, it was an attempt kidnap. So I was in school, to be light with it. I was in school, and these grown men came up to me, and they tried to grab me, you know, and I'm like, you know, what are you doing? You know, like, and then they keep trying to, but they're walking. So, but they keep trying to grab me, and I'm just like, I'm backing up. And then another kid came up to me and said, your uncle killed my whoever. You know what that means for you, right? And I'm like, I don't know what are you talking about?
Oh my God. And how old are you at this age when this happened?
I had to be like 12 at this point, you know? And then I was like, long story short, I got out of it. They chased me, they did grab me up, but I got out of that and I ran straight home. I ran all the way home. I was out. I'm jumping over fences, everything, like behind
this
people.
is like a movie.
Yeah.
Well, in the hood, a lot of people's stories is like the movie.
Yeah.
Not really light was this, but anyway, I went home and I told my uncle, the same uncle that did the murder, he happened to be in the kitchen. And I said, Uncle Mark, you killed somebody? He just looked at me on nonchalant and went, yeah, and kept watching TV. I said, I'm going to tell my mother, which is his sister. And I told my mom, and then they had a whole fight, an argument, and then turned into whatever. Long story short, we convinced him to turn himself in because people were getting kidnapped and people were getting murdered, and they wanted to just hurt everybody till they got to him. They were trying to find out where we lived, everything. I couldn't go to school for a little bit. I had to like just be in hiding. Not just me, a few of us. And because of the actions they did, I had to suffer the consequences because you're guilty by association, even though I am nothing like them. Oh, your last name's McKenzie. You from that family. We should get you as a retaliation on them, even though they're not here in the streets at least, because a lot of them was locked up. But anyway, but that was the streets back then. It was just the 90s and the late 80s was just different. You know, cocaine and heroin really was making people multimillionaires. I used to carry like $100,000s as a kid on me to hide, you know, from people. It was crazy.
Wow.
That was back then.
Wow.
That's what they broken glass everywhere. People hanging out the corner. Like all those songs were really real for the time, especially in New York.
Yeah,
It was
absolutely.
Real. Nothing far from the truth with those early rap songs about what America was like with the truth. You know, and now I watch Pablo Escobar Narcos and I'm like, one man could have an effect on the whole world in ways he probably didn't even imagine. You know?
Yeah.
He made cocaine a commercial. He made it Coca-Cola. He made a commercial product. It never was commercial to him. People sold cocaine before him. And you know, I grew up with like family on crack and drugs. Most of my family died of AIDS. My father's side, at least, they died of AIDS. So my relationship with drugs is like, I don't do drugs at all. I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't do none of that. But my relationship with drugs is just, I wouldn't say special, but it's just unique because I've grown up around it most of my childhood. The hardcore drugs, so I've seen it. I've seen what it can do to people. Like most of my aunts were prostitutes. You know, I seen them do a lot of things and not feed their kids. Y'all got kids, y'all know. But imagine you looking at your child, he hungry, and you like, cocaine right now is more important than you. I've seen them be like, I can't feed you right now. But they take that last $10 and go shoot their arm up.
So, Scott, you're living this completely different life now. What was the point of breaking away from that to this? Like, was there points? Was there key moments? Was what happened? Like, what happened in high school, or what happened when you went, I need to move away from there?
Well, I'll tell you this. When the Fuji started making money, I saw another life. I never knew this other life existed, which was like, I mean, I hate to say it like this, but it was like the white area of New Jersey. I saw mansions, I saw pools, I saw kids that wasn't really stressed out. I was like, dang, I ain't know people live like this. By this point, I'm like at least 14. So that was important to see because I think if I never saw that, and I always give Wyclef credit for that, that alone was just enough to show me that there's more out here. You know, you like some of these kids only know they block. They really do. Some of them, like I'm from New Jersey. I've never been to New York, and New York is a 20-minute ride away. You know, but it's because it's really all they know. So it was that. It was the Fugees and them showing that you don't got to live that life. Because once again, I look at the result, and the end result of being in that life is it don't end well. You either end up dead or in jail, and here's somebody that is becoming a millionaire off of music and being an executive. And I said, I'd rather be a square. You know, kids in the hood tease you. They call you a square. You think you white because you don't want to talk hood and you don't want to sag your pants and you don't want to sell drugs and you don't want to cheat on your girlfriend. I don't care. This guy looks safe. He looks like he's living a complete stress-free life. I'm tired of being stressed out. I don't want to be stressed out. I committed crime too when I was a kid. You can't be an angel around a bunch of devils. You got to do what you got to do to survive. But I'm saying all that to say, I was like, I'm not trying to live like this. I don't like waking up. You know, I've had home invasions. You know, home invasions ain't cute. People tying up me and my grandmother, that ain't cute. I don't want to live like that. Who wants? No, Pablo. I'm saying Pablo Escobar because he was the richest. But let's say El Chapo and them, they were billionaires, and then you just on the run for the rest of your life. Nobody want to live like that. Like you see a house you love just waking up in your house, but these guys every week they have to move, they have to change, they have to carry 20 guns on them. I know what it's like carrying a gun. I don't like using no gun. I don't want to do that.
Scott, there's so much trauma that there's from your childhood, and yet when we speak to you, you're so light, and you know you've got this mission to educate yourself on every topic known to mankind, and you speak so beautifully about your mother and your partner, and you know you are completely, you know, unless you talk to you and dig deeper and find out all of that stuff, we would not have known, because you don't carry it with you. Your light, you know, it's how does a boy deal with that level of trauma and then heal themselves? What did you do?
Well, I think personally, I didn't know it was trauma until I was like 27. to be honest.
Right.
And that's only because I had time to reflect once I lost everything and I had no money and stuff, and I was just able to reflect. And I was like, I didn't realize that that was considered bad. Like, I've been molested, but I didn't know. I mean, but you don't. I never talked to nobody about it, so I didn't know. I never like really dug deep into it. But yeah, you don't, because and especially in Black culture in America, nobody talks about their trauma. I mean, look at 50 Cent or look at Puffy witnessing his best friend get shot in front of him.
Mm.
I mean, my grandparents, my grandmother went through some stuff. I mean, but to her it was like, hey, that's life. I don't think she saw lynchings because my grandmother was light skinned, so she was a house N-word. But she till the day she died, she just cleaned up homes for wealthy white people in New Jersey. But even when she lived in Jamaica, from my understanding, because she used to have all these pictures of just white families, and she's like, "Oh, I worked," and like she would worship them, like, but not in a bad way. Like, to her, it was like, these people, without them, I wouldn't be able to feed myself, because she never graduated school. I don't even think she went to school. She was totally illiterate. But that's her time, and I'm saying to say, like, she didn't know that. I don't know. Maybe reading a book is important. She didn't know all that stuff. For her, it was like regular life. She used to always tell me, baby, just be. I forgot how she used to say it, but you just want to be in a good space so the white man can give you a job one day. That was her whole thing. Make sure the white man will give you a job one day. But I understand as I got older, I'm like, okay, yeah, because she went through. She was born in 1934, so she just seen different stuff. She only left London because Hitler. They thought Hitler was going to take over the UK. Yeah. So we got out. And we were like, I ain't staying here. But she's like, we came to America with no money. We didn't know our foot from our head. So you just do what you do best. You cook and clean. That's all you can do. Especially for women, because women too didn't have their independence. Even white women, it wasn't the same. But now women are able to be free and do what they want to do. But anyways, I compare myself to all that. I'm like, am I really going through stuff? I went through stuff for my time, and that's what it was at that time. But at the end of the day, there's people that went through more. At least I have my health, and I never been shot.
Oh my God, what an attitude though. Because if somebody went through one of the things that you've just said, and you've said like 30, they'd be in therapy for life. They wouldn't leave. They'd be on medication. They'd be, rocking in the corner. And you're just out there saying, all right, well, that people had it worse, and I'm moving on, and I understand it.
They do.
I want to be a part of it.
Yeah. That's what I was saying earlier with America. It's like, until you leave America, you don't realize, like, people in Haiti and Jamaica and Mexico, and my girlfriend's Mexican, so being out there, I see real poverty, man. We don't got no poverty. At the end of the day, it's not poverty we can't control if we would work together. But yes, there is a system that is dedicated to making us not work together. So that's why Africa, as much resources as Africa has, if I keep all y'all fighting, like what's going on in Nigeria and with Congo, whatever, y'all never really notice that we, the powers that be, whether China, Russia, whoever, everybody's just taking from you, taking. And that's the same thing in the hood, like in America. It's like Bloods and Crips fighting over colors, But you've been brainwashed. I'm not falling for that, because I always looked at the result. What does this lead to? Some people don't care about the result. Results of, like, I have to look at history, because history tells all. And I'm like, okay, well, if it didn't work then, why the hell do I think it's gonna work now? I'm not doing that. Meaning like hurting somebody else or cheating on somebody. I don't need to do all that. It doesn't lead nowhere. So I tell everybody, I live by Stalin. Stalin has a quote: "One death is a tragedy, 1,000 deaths is a statistic." And that's how I live. I want to know the statistics of things, and I tell everybody, do that. You want to get wealthy, go buy Forbes and see the top 400 people that's wealthy and see what's the commonality between them. Unlike now, when I was a kid, I didn't have Google. I graduated school in 2003. Google, y'all know Google didn't exist then. I had to literally go buy books and read and find it. Now I could type up everything in 10 seconds. I get the answer. So I'm like, what's your excuse now? You know what I'm saying? Like when YouTube was invented, I was so fascinated with this thing. I was YouTubing everything. YouTubing how to make glass. I was like, oh my God, the answers is all here. I was so addicted to YouTube for at least 2 years. I watched like every video on YouTube. I still to this day, because YouTube got all the answers. You can want to own land. I learned about credit through YouTube. Yeah. I just watch tons of videos and hear people's opinions then I line it all up and say, well, what's the commonality of all these opinions? This work, American Express is best.
The fact that you want to be able to educate yourself so much is just, and the fact that you're putting out all of these different opinions, and you're actually teaching other people. That's the greatest thing. I mean, looking and thinking, you're here really to teach and learn, to experience, and you are doing all of those things. You are constantly showing us new ways of looking at things, and I love that. Like, that's why we love following you and love hanging out with you, because every time we see you, we walk away going, oh, I never really thought about it like that. And you have great ways of looking at things. Where do you want? We'll go for a break. And
we need to take a break. We need to take a break, and
then we'll come back.
There's all these other questions we've got, because you really do. You make our brains hurt sometimes.
Yep.
All
right. We love it. We love it. So you're listening to the Sonya and Sacha For Real show, Brimbank Live on Live FM. We'll be back soon. Thank you so much for listening to Brimbank Live on Live FM. If you've got the Sonya and Sacha For Real show, and here we are with our friend from New York, the great Scott McKenzie, and he's just got a different view of the world. He's been through some stuff we just heard, but he's just he has made us think about things in such a different way, and constantly thought-provoking. And we watch his social media, and he's like pushing us and making us think, oh, what about that? What about that? YouTube was your educator for a while, like it is all of ours. Google is now. But what about, how do you, what do you do with your thoughts about the world, your social media? You pump it out there and you make us really just, where does that come from, Scotty?
Oh, Lord. Well, Tumblr was one of the first websites I was really addicted to. I never forget when Tumblr first started in like 2008. I was on Tumblr before Twitter and Facebook. So after MySpace, I went to Tumblr, and I just got a large following. I used to be really popular back in the 2008 to like 2012. I had like over 100,000 followers. I was one of the first, I'm not saying I'm the first. I was definitely one of the first group of young kids in America getting sponsorships, Reebok, all types of brands, Ciroc.
Yes.
So anyway, Tumblr, I use Instagram stories like Tumblr, because Tumblr, I would just repost stuff and people would just be fascinated by it. And I had a big blog called Purple Mango.
Yes.
And, I just made the word up. It means nothing. And then I would walk down the street and people like, yo, you the dude from Purple Mango. But this is what Tumblr was the thing. Because Odd Future, Tyler, the Creator, ASAP Mob, ASAP Rocky, and them, a lot of them got discovered from Tumblr. This is back in Tumblr was the thing. So anyway, now once Instagram stories came out, I was like, oh, I'm going to use this like Tumblr, because I love Tumblr. I could just be random, because the life is random and our minds are random. Our bodies are random. And I just encourage people to just understand, because me and Sacha, sometimes we go back and forth, right? And I just, not just with her though, it could be Black Lives Matter, it could be whoever. I just want people to understand that life is a battery. It's a positive and a negative. That's why the Chinese said the yin and the yang. You can't have day without night, fire without water. There's always an opposite, and man without woman, and it's all good, So you got to balance both, It's like with the police. I think some police are wrong, but not all police. I don't think we should defund the police. And why the police aren't doing nothing no different than a gang member in the hood saying don't snitch. Yeah, if that's my own, I'm not gonna snitch on my own. I'm not saying I condone killing. I'm just saying, like, as a cop, I get it. Cops gonna stick with cops the way blacks are gonna stick with blacks, and Chinese gonna stick with Chinese, and that, I don't agree with it, but it's normal. It's normal for people to feel that way. The way the squirrel is with the squirrels and the penguins are with the penguins. We ain't gonna see the penguins hanging out with the chihuahuas.
So, what is your opinion on Black Lives Matters?
I mean, I agree with it and I don't. I'm black, so of course I don't want nobody killing us. But I don't think that the best way to make change is through protesting. I think when I look at leaders that did change the world in their way, it could be Fidel Castro, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Malcolm X, whoever. I think they were very big on force. People only respect money and violence. And even like in Africa or Egypt or Iran, when they didn't like what was in government, they went in there and they yanked that person out. I feel like all we do is go, hey man, don't shoot, we're gonna protest, and then the next week we go back to shucking and jiving. Not we, because I ain't doing it, but these people do. And some things we have to unsubscribe from if we really want Black lives to matter. It can't just matter when cops kill us. It has to matter when even we kill us. If my life matters, it should matter no matter what. It can't be like, well, that's less of of an issue when your own kill your own. Because I'm black and I'm more scared of my own than the white person, in the sense of like, listen, every culture kills their own culture, right? But I'm saying that to say, I know for me, if and I know this because I'm from the hood. If I walk around with this chain on and Bill Gates is right next to me, they're gonna kill me before they kill Bill Gates. It just is what it is. Because they feel it's safer to kill you, I could get more away with it. Because you black. Black people feel this way about blacks. Look, the rapper Pop Smoke just died in February. They ran up in a Hollywood mansion and did that. You don't think they know wealthy white people live out there? You don't hear them running up in wealthy white people homes. Of course, they know these people might not have cash on them or diamond chains, but that is not the point. They just feel like I could get more away with killing my own than killing. But that's not just us. Because as I travel, I see every race kills their own race, right? There's issues within every culture. But I'm trying to tell black people, I'm a part of hip hop, so I'm a problem. I'm part of the problem too. But we glorify it. That's the only difference. Chinese don't glorify killing their own. No other race really glorifies killing their own. Now, entertainment, but then you can't get mad when people look at your life as entertainment. And then just so I said with Tupac and Biggie, it's like these are real lives. But to now the world, how much people are making millions and millions of dollars making movies and benefiting off of their tragedy. I'm telling black people too, we have to stop making our tragedy profitable. Even us. You know, I don't believe in telling people to do something you're not gonna do yourself. And I don't believe in telling people something that and then okay, it's like Chris Brown beating Rihanna. Everybody want to come at Chris Brown, but I'm like, I know everybody knows somebody that at least at one point in their life they know did domestic violence and they never said nothing to that person. I know plenty of men that have done terrible things to their wife, to their girlfriend, and I never said anything. So I'm just as at fault. But I can't look at some celebrity and attack him as if I don't know somebody down the street who's doing the same thing. That's all I'm saying. I think that is super backwards. You know, you want to attack Trump, but there's plenty of the evil people out here worse than Trump as far as just gang culture and drug dealing and all that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying Trump is the best. It just make it fair. I'm a fair person. I believe in being super fair with like, I don't believe in like point. I was trying to tell Sacha, it's not your place to fix things. I think it's our place. I think the people that want white people to fix it because they're really weak and they know they feel they can't survive without the white man. So that's why they're like, well, white people need to fix our problems. No, you need to fix your problems. Because American blacks are the only group that think like this. It is not Haitian blacks, Jamaican blacks, African blacks. African blacks, every other black is trying to solve their own issues. It's only American blacks that feel like the government or some other entity needs to solve our issues. That's my opinion on it. You know, people don't gotta agree, but at the end of the day, I tell black people all the time, if you move to Jamaica, look at Nigeria, it's black cops killing black people. This has nothing to do with color, my brother. That's what I'm trying to tell you. This has nothing to do with color. This is the powers that, this is a classism issue at this point, really. And it's the powers, it's the people that have power and the people that don't. And what's power? Power is really violence. To me, it's guns. If it ain't guns, it's money. But you use money to buy guns. So without whoever got the most guns is in control. That's how I feel in the story.
Wow.
Right.
That's like incredible. When you actually talk about this stuff to other African Americans, do you think that there's a pushback in their opinion?
Heck yeah.
Like what, you know,
I don't
because
care. I don't.
What's happening when you're going out and you're talking about this stuff? What's happening and what is everyone saying to you? Like,
some people see the bigger picture. Some people still want to stay in their mindset. Listen, I say all the time, your life is the teacher. Whatever you believe, prove it within the results in your life. I'm telling you what worked for me. I'm telling you when I distanced myself and I got with this energy, things change. There are white people that want to help us. There are cops that want to help us. We can't, if you don't like them pointing that all black people are evil, I can't keep saying F the police because all police are not bad. There's police that helped me through tragic situations, that gave me a ride home when I was a kid and little things like that. So why am I discrediting them? I don't want to discredit nobody. I want to be fair to everybody because we want fairness. If we want fairness, we got to be it. And I know it's hard. because I've been there. I've been through racist moments myself. I've been beat up by the cops 3 times. I don't sell drugs. You see me, no tattoos. I'm a square compared to like 50 Cent or something. You know what I mean?
You're in bed by 9:30, Scott, so you're definitely not doing anything wrong. Like, we'll bring you up. I'm going to bed. It's 9:30, Scott. Wake up.
No, but I'm saying, like, I grew up in, and I've
Yeah.
had just bad moments, but I'm not gonna go, dang, all these cops are effed up, because that's not the truth. Only some. It's like any other world, that there's just a few bad apples in every culture, and it's all right. I think, but I understand why we stereotype, because the mind can only hold in so much. So at some point, it has to just make a ratio of, like, this is the whole of them. Like, it could be like pit bulls. Everybody in America thinks pit bulls are evil. They're not evil. That a dog is trained to be that way, just like a terrorist is trained. A dog and a little boy are the same thing. They have a brain, and somebody said, this makes sense, do this. And I'm telling people, we got to unsubscribe, even like with rape culture.
Unsubscribe. I love that.
I'm not trying to go.
Unsubscribe. I love that. Unsubscribe, get yourself educated, and work it out from there.
All right, you were going to say something about rape culture.
Even with rape culture, right? I'm not condoning it. I'm just trying to help people understand how men could think the way they think, like Harry Weinstein or whatever his name is. The point is, like, I looked at Mario. You do all this, and at the end you win the girl, and then she's supposed to kiss you. This is video games. Legend of Zelda. When I was a kid, I'm consuming this on MTV. Now, if I'm a kid and I'm growing up, what do you think I'm supposed to think? I'm supposed to think, yeah, this how women's supposed to be. Like, I'm supposed to do this and do that, and hip hop is teaching me this, and video games is teaching, and TV is teaching me this. So I'm not condoning it. I'm just trying to tell people, if we can understand where things come from, then we could truly solve it. But we could just wake up one day and go, this person's wrong, without understanding that person had a background too. And it's interesting when I travel and I read education in different countries, and I see how people could think the way they think because their books are telling them this. And I'm telling Black people, when you go to other countries, Black culture is not taught the same in every country. That's why, like, a monkey is offensive to an American Black, but it's not offensive to a Swedish Black. I don't know if you remember the story of that little Black boy who did the H&M ad, and it was something about the king of the jungle, and it was a big offense here. But I'm like, Sweden, slavery and all that didn't happen the same way out there. But I get how you American Blacks don't know, because you've never been in Sweden. So you're just judging from your context of what Black people went through. And I'm trying to tell Black people, can we stop living in the concept of slavery? I feel like that concept was brought on to us so that we could think anything beyond slavery is better. But the reality is, the wealthiest Black man was Mansa Musa, and there were a lot of Black prominent people before slavery. But if you keep living from the storyline of slavery, then you start thinking everything after that was better. Before the 400 years of slavery, there was a whole history. And most Black people don't care to look into it. They just go, slavery. That's it. We just started at slavery. That's not true. I know my history. Just like I said with the N-word. If you understand the N-word, the real term stands for king, ruler of oneself. So you should never be offended by the word if you know the context of the real word. But if you want to be offended by it, by what somebody else told you, that's on you. But the history is on Google. You could Google it. There's white kids saying it in spelling bees. So I'm trying to help them open their mind so they can stop. Because people just listen to what people tell them instead of saying, well, let me question it. I questioned everything. I never was like, yo, let's sell drugs. Let's sell drugs. Why? Where does this lead to? Yo, we just got to sell drugs, yo. We got to get this money. What is money? What's money? Oh, money, you know what I mean? I'm like, no, I don't know what you mean.
Scott, you have these incredible opinions, and you actually lead an authentic life. Like, what is going on, and you're leading a life where you're saying, this is how I'm feeling, and I'm educating myself and I'm educating everybody else. I need to ask you, okay, and anyone that actually follows you on social media, it is like 1 minute it's politics, the next minute it's sex. It is just absolutely all over the place. And we love the stuff that you're putting out there. It's certainly not for everybody. It will definitely shock some people. But one of the things that you always say is that you are you're in a very wonderful, loving relationship, actually a really, really healthy relationship that you've been in for the last 7 years, but you openly say that you're in an open relationship. Tell us, like, how does that even work, and how do you make that work? And tell us all about that, because we love Vanessa. We love her.
So she was not with it in the beginning. Just be very. People think I just said it to her, and she was like, "Yeah, sure." It took months.
Just a couple of months.
But one thing I asked is that let's be students of love. Let's not come in this thinking we should know all the answers. Let's be some students. Let's study biology, chemistry, science, physics. Let's study all that so we can understand why the human, and let's study animals. Let's study bugs. Let's study all of it and understand procreation on everything. And there's a pattern. I always say that there's some type of thing. So anyway, once we understood the science behind love and the model that we have now is a 200-year-old model, is not from the beginning of time. Monogamy is not realistic compared to nature. And look at what other creatures are doing and what we're taught to do. Marriage is about property rights. End of story. The Europeans created that concept so that way the king could build an alliance with another king, and it's like in Game of Thrones. He'd say, "Oh, here's my daughter. She's not bleeding, so she's a virgin. You can have her, and in return, your army, your resources will be my resources." And that was in the medieval times, and it exists now to this day almost. So to be like light with it. So once we understood that, it's like, why are we subscribing to that? Because that's not what we from. In Egypt, everybody had sex with everybody because back then a village raised a child. It was not about property. It wasn't about none of that. It was just what's mine is yours, what's yours is mine. But then all that changed when Europeans said we need to conquer other countries and yada, 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 yada. So with all that being said, and from a science point of view, right? There's 7 women to 1 male. Every time you make love, and if you make a baby, there's a 6 out of chance. Well, whatever. It'll be more girls than boys, right? Because one of us make the XY chromosome, one of us make the XX chromosome, which means there's 3 girls to 1 boy. So if that is outnumbered, then we have to ask ourselves, what happens to all the other women when you get married to the alpha male you're married to? And let's look at like why men. I don't know. This is all theory at this point. Why men die faster, women live longer, but women eggs die off faster, and the man's sperm can procreate till he's old. Who knows? I'm just saying to people, including myself, I want to start questioning this because this is something I feel like nobody's talking about. Like puberty starts so young. Why would the universe, God, whatever, make it that way if there wasn't an intention to it? Now, I don't know. I'm just asking because I feel like we're not even asking. You know, it's like, it's just little things. Like we just started asking questions about, well, why is life designed like this? But then we make laws to go against nature. Why do men rape men even when they're straight? Like in prison, in America at least. I can't speak for another country. But in America, men rape men all the time. So I realized, okay, rape has nothing to do with a female. It's deeper than that. Okay, let me look at sperm. How many heartbeats does a sperm make per heartbeat? It makes 70,000 sperms per heartbeat. We just started digging. I'm like, this thing is so complicated. I get why there's no answers to it. It's just too, on the science, biology, chemistry perspective, it's just too much.
So you go to Vanessa with all of this, and then what does she say? You know, like I'm imagining like Saturday night watching a movie, and you're on the couch, and you'll go, "Listen,
I just made 70,000. I just made 70,000 sperm."
You know, like da 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 da. Okay, what's the next step? Okay, so you give
140, 280.
You give her this spiel, and then you go, "I think we need to go out, and I want to go here." You go there, and then we come back together. Like, what happens then?
No. She was she was doing her own research. She found, I can't remember none of the books she found, but she found some books that are really strong and had us both thinking. And we just came to the conclusion that it's unrealistic. No other species do it but human beings, and human beings do it for property rights. Other animals don't do it. And you know what's interesting? Male squirrels bite off the balls and the penis of their own children because they don't want the son to grow up and be competition to him. Bears kill their own sons, bear males. So there was a pattern I seen, and males do it too. Human males do it. We do it differently though. We'll do it through like wealth.
Thank God no one's biting each other's balls off. That's all I can say.
But we do it. We do it through like just through other avenues. So I saw a commonality that males are always competing to breed, and we will kill each other off to breed with other women. It's just our thing. And ants do it, all bugs do it, it's whatever. Anyway.
But I'm just thinking, like, how do we bring that into the relationship? Like, you have all that. I mean, certainly as all of us, you know, I mean, Sonya and I are both married. So certainly, you know, everybody thinks these, you know, far out different things. But you kind of go, well, this is, you know, this is the life and we're married and that sort of stuff. I'm just thinking, like, you bring this to the table, like, you cross the line, like, do you come back? Like, what? How do you even and what do other people? Because you've actually had people say to you, well, you know, give really strong opinions about the lifestyle that you guys are leading.
Yeah, well, we 8 years in, and all I'm trying to tell Vanessa, you guys, everybody, don't go against your nature. Your nature is going to override you in one way or another, some point in life, and that's all good. And I think we're taught to go against our nature. We're taught we're good people. I'm not saying we're bad people. I just think life is life at this point. I don't have good or bad anymore in life. It's just nature. It's nature to be violent. It's nature to be loving. It's nature to be, you know, it's like you make eye boogers and you fart and you pee, but then there's a part of you that also smells good. But I'm saying all that to say, me and Vanessa agreed to don't go against your nature. If you like something, you genuinely like it. There's other times she walked on the street and she liked women and men. And that does that mean she's wrong for that? No, she's a human being. Just like food. Sometimes you like chicken and sometimes you like steak. Sometimes you like lobster. Food is attractive for whatever reason, but not all the time. You might be like, I'm not in the mood for a burger today. That don't mean you don't like burgers. It's just today I'm not in that mood. I'm just saying go with your
That's
nature.
what we're going to do, Sonya. That's it. I like burgers, but today I'm not in the mood for a burger. That's it. And that explains it all. Scott, you are amazing.
The way that you, I want to finish off. We haven't asked anybody. We've said that we wanted to have our signature question, and we're going to finish off the interview today with our signature question, Scotty. And you know, we love the way that you've been so open with us today, and I've learned something. And I've got so many more questions. I think we need to do like an hour special with you or something.
I think we already have.
YouTube channel. But our question to finish off today, and thank you for being so beautiful with us, is what do you know for real? This is the Sonya and Sacha for Real show. So what do you know for real?
I don't think that people deep in their hearts want to be evil. I think just sometimes we're just all trying to find ourselves, and emotional fitness, it needs a workout. You know, everybody won't work out their body, but working out your mind is a whole nother conversation. So you don't say, oh, it's mom's fault, it's dad's fault, it's the white man's fault, it's the police fault. Because at the end of the day, they're all humans too, trying to figure out their mind. And I don't think some people are gonna look back at their life, like the guy who killed George Floyd, I don't think he's like, man, I'm proud of that, man. Yeah, man, that black person deserved it. You know, I just think we're humans, man, and sometimes we lose ourselves in the moment. And all I'm saying is that people aren't evil. At the end of the day, every human being wants to do good. However, that good look is an opinion, but they want to do good in their heart. They do. I think we all want love. We all want to feel important. We all want to feel just love.
Valued. We want valued.
We want to feel valued.
Like we matter.
That's what I'm pushing.
And we all are exactly the same. We all love, we all hurt, we all get scared. Yep. You know, we all want the best for whatever, and we all have different ways of showing that as well.
Because when I tried to kill a fly and it's running away, it don't want to get hurt. It's like, don't like I gotta get this out of my room. And I'm saying that to say, I think every species on the planet has a brain and a heart. Because some plants they're like alive, but they don't have a brain and a heart. Deep down, we all just want to be loved and stuff. I think every creature on the planet. I'm not exempted.
Well, we love you, Scotty. We love.
But I am scared of a bear. You know what I mean? I'm scared of a dog. I understand that tiger might go tiger, and I might want to back up. You know, that's why I want to go to jail, because I can understand, just like the tiger. Oh, this man is gonna go man, and if he see my little butt, he gonna want some of this butt, and I don't want me. You know what I'm saying? Because I understand that at his nature, that's what he wants. Just like the tiger's nature is like, oh, I want to eat you.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it's fair to say that we all should stay away from squirrels. We love you, Scott. We love you, and we thank you so much for hanging out with us today. And I think we need to come back and do another whole hour, because there's so many more questions we need to ask.
Absolutely.
Whenever you ready. And I'm coming
come to Australia. Come to Australia already.
Sneak in that country.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you can't sneak in here, but we'll try to sneak into yours. Love you, Scott. Thank you so much.
Trump would allow it. Okay.
Great Scott McKenzie, everyone. Brimbank Live on Live FM. This is the Sonya and Sacha For Real show.
Sonya and Sacha, for real.